Hey, what's up guys? Today I will show you how to replace the injectors on a Volkswagen up from 2013 and a couple of tests you can do to find out if you really need to replace the injectors. The most common symptoms related to faulty fuel injectors are misfire codes, high fuel consumption if the injectors are leaking, and loss in power if the injectors are clogged. So let's see, on this car first you will have to remove the air filter box, and on top of the intake you will find the plastic fuel rail. Before removing the fuel rail, you can unplug the connectors. Now, in order to test if you have good signal from the PCM to the injectors, just insert your probes into the connector. Okay, the voltmeter is secured. It's set on 20 volts. Make sure that these don't touch each other. Now, when I turn the key in the ignition, the car should not start, of course, and you should see a response on this connector. The electric pulses sent by the computer will be on a high rate, therefore the voltmeter will read the average of the maximum and minimum voltage found on the connector. On these injectors will be either 12 volts or 0 volts, so the average will be somewhere around 6 or 7 volts. In this situation, a voltmeter is not going to be the most accurate tool, but still can give you some indication that the wiring and the connectors are in good working condition. Right, so with the key off from the ignition, there is no more voltage at the connector. With the voltmeter, another test you can do is a continuity test on the injectors. So set your voltmeter at around 2000 ohms. Connect your probes on the injector 2 pins. If you don't find continuity, then the coil inside the injector is broken and the injector needs to be replaced. Also, there should be some resistance on this coil, otherwise when the 12 volts pulse is sent, the switch will not happen and the computer will most likely be burned. But that's very rare. So we got around 13 ohms of resistance on each. The plastic fuel rail is held on by 2 bolts T30 down here, these two. So I'm gonna undo them right now. With these 2 bolts off, now you can pull out the fuel rail and the injectors will come out. Now, in order to test if the fuel injectors leak or they are clogged, you can do a simple, easy test with the fuel rail on, everything connected on, just that the fuel injectors are not into the intake, spraying into the cylinders. So you kind of bypass the injectors and the injectors now will spray into these cups. I will crank it for, let's say, 10 seconds. Now let's see the scale, what does it say. If you have a look, that's a fair equal fuel amount down there. It's obviously that there is nothing excessively more or excessively less. And if you do this test in 2 persons, one can watch the injectors how they spray and visually compare their pulse and timing. That can be much more conclusive than weighting the fuel when you do this alone. Now let's say you really have to replace the fuel injectors, then just go ahead and on the fuel rail you'll find the clips of the injectors, which can be removed by hand. You just have to press outwards like so, and then the clip will come out. Place the clips apart and just twist and pull at the same time and expect some fuel to come out because it's still under pressure. On this car, the fuel pump is activated once every 30 minutes to keep the pressure in the fuel rail. So use a vice plier to obstruct the fuel line to avoid spraying fuel everywhere when the injectors are off. Finally, to install the new injectors, place the rubber ring on top, then slide it into the fuel rail. Make sure they are positioned correctly with the connector port towards the cabin. Now you can secure it with a clip which has its own indentation on the injector. After all the injectors are on the rail, spray some silicone lubricant on the holes from the intake so you can slide the rail with the injectors much easier in. Then you can tighten back those 2 bolts and secure the rail on the intake. And of course plug in the connectors on each injector. So I can release the clamp. Finally, I can place back the air filter box. Alright guys, job done. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and until next time, drive safe and I will see you soon.